everyone, I hope you guys are having a great day. I'm playing catch up today, getting a lot of these little shorter videos out to you guys of stuff that God showed me over the last few days. And when I was waking up yesterday morning, God spoke something really powerful to me, and he spoke the phrase double honor to me, double honor, that a lot of you guys are about to step into a season of double honor being restored to your name and to your life as God promotes you and as he shines forth in your life as you're stepping into these new mantle changes and as you are stepping into the fullness of what he's created you to do. And so he said that phrase to me when I woke up, and immediately he started talking to me about the stories of Joseph and David in the Bible. And we've been talking about that a lot on this channel for a long time. But I wanted you guys to think about what both Joseph and David came through. Okay, let's look at the story of Joseph first. Joseph was ridiculed. He was seen as the lowest of the scum in society, right? First, he went into slavery, right? He was betrayed, sold into a place of slavery. And so he dealt with all of that with Potiphar's house and all of that. And then just when you think his life couldn't get any worse, he's thrown into a jail cell, and he's seen probably with a reputation where he was probably very shamed by people. He was seen as the lowest of the low. Not only was he one of the poorest in society, often we forget about that. He was launched into a place of wealth and riches eventually, and a very high title, right? But he was one of the poorest people in society. A lot of times you get tested in the area of your greatest calling, you know? So for those of you guys who have the Joseph call, that's something to think about, right? But he was in this place where he went through tremendous shame on his name, right? Where it looks like for long seasons, he was falsely accused. Remember Potiphar's wife? She accused him of sexually having relations with her when he did not, you know? And so Joseph just went through all this tremendous season of prolonged, hardship where it didn't seem like he had any vindication in his life. But then God came through all at once, and he was promoted into a position of honor, right? And he was promoted into a place where God stepped in and stood up for his character and for his name. And he ended up becoming one of the most revered people in the nation, right? I want to tell you guys, that's something you guys need to claim, because God was speaking that over a lot of you. He's proud of you. He knows you haven't seen the vindication yet, but God is saying double honor is coming to those who are walking in close personal relationship with him and who have been obedient in this season. Amen. Okay, let's look at the life of David for a second on all of this, right? David was a person who experienced extreme rejection throughout the course of his life, right? Not only by Saul trying to come after him, but it started off way younger than that. When he was a kid, he was raised shepherding, right? That was where his training, his wilderness season was, but you can tell throughout the Bible that he was discounted in his family unit. He was kind of what I would call the scapegoat child. He was that one that was considered the underdog and not good enough. He was not invited to the things, David was he was really, he was done wrong by his family, is what I would say, very much so. We see throughout the Bible that when they went to go and anoint king, right, or whenever they went out to the battlefields, David wasn't even invited by his father to be a part of the lineup of the brothers. That's kind of an ouchy thing, right, where he was just completely not even allowed to be included on a lot of those conversations, right? And so he wasn't allowed to go be a part of the army. We see in the Bible that when David went to go defeat Goliath, his brothers were already on the battlefield, but David wasn't allowed to be there. He was going to bring him food initially, right? And we see that when Samuel, the prophet Samuel, went to go appoint and to anoint the next king, his father Jesse didn't even invite David to be a part of the lineup of brothers. And that's kind of insulting, right? If you're thinking about this from David's perspective, I'm sure you'd be like, man, what gives, and he was the rightful king all along. And isn't it interesting that even when humans discounted David, God called for him and knew where he was at regardless, and told Samuel, none of these people are it. You need to go grab the person who's not here, right? And so I want to tell you guys, even if people discount you, God includes you and knows where you are, and when it is his time for you, and when it is the right season, he can pop you up. And isn't it interesting that David experienced restored honor, and that those very people who ridiculed him and who were coming up against him and counted him out ended up having to answer to him one day, right? And so God is just speaking over you guys. There's been a lot of unfair situations that a lot of you guys have faced in your life. A lot of seasons where it looked like shame, where it looked like dishonor. You were the underdog and all these different things. And God is speaking that with these mantle flips that are coming, double honor. He is so proud of you guys. And just because you feel overlooked right now does not mean that you were actually overlooked. All it takes is a moment for God to flip things in your life. And I want you guys to hang on to that and to believe for it and believe that God is faithful. Amen. Hope you guys have a great day. I'll chat with you again soon.